Hey y'all, this is Brad. This one's going to be a real short one. As you see, I said I was going to make more money, and I did. We're about 10 minutes to the close, and from scratch today, actually I came in along 370 shares of DJT, and I sold it up $3, so, 900 of that was, 900 of that was done pre-market or right on the open. So, I made around $9,000 today. The only difference between my positions is I did some stuff to lower my margin. My margin is fine. I got $7,000 more coming in account. This isn't all my money. I'm just trading with a small amount of money to teach and provide YouTube content. But this is real money, real live. That's $97,800 in cash. I could probably cash everything out and leave with $8,000 just on what I've done today. But I love my position. The only thing that's different is I put on a spread in PayPal where earnings are coming out either tonight or tomorrow morning. So PayPal's going to move like $4 or $5 tomorrow, and I love the trade that I put on. We'll see if it works or not. If it doesn't work, I'm an idiot. My friend told me to sell the to buy the time spread last week, but I wasn't able to trade because of my problems with YouTube. What I did was I bought the at-the-money calls for earnings, and I sold 100. I bought 100 November 1st 82 calls, which are right now in the money, and I sold some January 90s, which is fine because I would love to just buy right this stock, and I sold 2,000 shares of stock against it. So if it goes down $8, I'm fine. If it goes up $8, I'm fine. Let's see. This is my risk portfolio for this trade. Let's take a look at what happens in at expiration. I believe that's what I'm looking at. This is my expiration graph. I can make $50,000. I can make no, that's not right because it's okay. Price change in percent. So if it goes down 10%, I make money. In fact, if it goes down at least, if it just sits here and is unchanged tomorrow, I lose 86 cents 100 times. That is that's $86 10,000 times. So I lose $8,600 if it's exactly here. So I need it to go down about $4 to break even on the downside. If it goes down $10, I make a fortune. On the upside, actually, if it stays here, since my calls are in the money, I make money. If it's unchanged at expiration, if it's unchanged tomorrow morning after the earnings call, I make money because I'm owning in the money calls. If it goes down, if it goes down 5%, which is it usually makes, I think, like an 8% move. I don't have any worries at all. I'm going to guarantee that I make money tomorrow morning on this trade. But again, I will be live and I'll update it. And if I lose money on this trade, hell, you can hold me to it and go, you're an idiot. But it's too late for you now. But I think it's a great trade. We'll see what happens. I don't see any way I'm going to lose money. To me, the best case scenario is going up $6 or $7 or going down 20. Down 20 would be amazing. I would immediately get out of the trade. Down 10 would be amazing. I'd make a fortune. Unchanged is fine with me because I would love to just, buy the stock back and just buy right and just be short these calls against stock. think that's a fabulous trade. I don't see anything that can happen that is going to tell me that I don't like this trade. So there it is. We're 5 minutes from the close. I started the day with 317 shares of DJT stock. I shouldn't have sold it because it closed the day up $8 and a half. But so I only made $900 when I could have made, what's like $2,400. But I'm happy right now with 9,500, and we'll see what the marks are. But it's been a good day. I started with 317 shares of DJT and cash, and right now, at the closing marks, let's see how far the bell is if I want to make my video 4 minutes longer. Alright, we'll make the video 4 minutes longer and see where things close. I'll tell a quick story about Leon the Magnificent, and the first time I started working for him. He was backing a good friend of mine named Drew, and Drew is one of my best friends still. Leon the Magnificent is a good friend. Leon the Magnificent is worth a fortune. He likes Mustangs. I like Mustangs. He does not flaunt his wealth. He's kind of like Marlansky in that way. Okay, we're all Jewish, don't make any comments, but Marlansky was smart enough not to... You remember Goodfellas, where Robert De Niro said, "Hey, we just pulled off the greatest heist of all time. Don't buy anything flashy." And everybody bought fur coats and stuff, and Robert De Niro had to kill them all. I would never make that mistake. Leon the Magnificent would never make that mistake. Marlansky would never make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Don't be a crook. Leon the Magnificent made his money legally. I make my money legally. Don't be a crook, but that's, don't flaunt your wealth. Don't buy expensive crap that you don't need. I've only owned one new car in my life. It was a 2024 Mustang. And this is kind of interesting. I went to Los Angeles, and my car was dinged up. I paid $26,000. It's the only new car I've ever bought. Kind of a reward to myself. I've driven used Hondas my entire life because I just don't care about cars. But I do like Mustangs. I bought a brand new 2014 Mustang for $26,000 in 2014. In 2019, close, right at the end of the year through 2020. Right before the pandemic, I was going to move to LA. I had a lot of expensive guitar equipment in my car, and my car was only worth I could have only sold it for $5,000-$6,000. And I did a lot of research with the insurance people, and I said, what happens if my car is stolen? What happens if I get in an accident? And they have no idea what my car looks like, that it's dinged up because they didn't ice the ramp in my parking garage, and my car backsplit, and there was a crazy scratch, and it was all messed up, and that nobody would give me more than $5,000 on the planet for that car. And I was making jokes that, God, I really hope somebody would steal my car. I met a guy who dated my aunt back in the 80s, and he left his car unlocked, and I think the key's in it because he wanted somebody to steal his car. So I'm just joking, I'd love somebody to steal my car. I love this car, but, I dinged it up, and, back then they didn't have the greatest tires for winter time, and I lived in Cleveland. So, there was some damage to it. It was worth about $5,000, and I'm joking about it, and then this guy invites me to play some music with him. And I'm really excited because I had this really expensive music. It was what was it? I don't know. It was the Ultimate Guitar Pedal. I can't remember its name right now. Maybe I'll put it in the comments. Oh, it was a Helix. It was a Helix. And this thing did anything, had any sound you wanted, but man, it was just too too complicated for me. But he was going to show me how to use the Helix, and I was excited about it. All I had to do was go down the street for 2 miles and take a left turn to his place. I went to take the left turn. I right, like the day just closed and I just lost $3 grand. That's just marks. It's going to continue to change for another hour, but you know, it looks pretty. It's going to be completely different tomorrow because PayPal's going to announce earnings. But I will upload a video on the opening tomorrow, and we'll see what happens in PayPal. My guess is I'm going to make a good amount of money tomorrow. So anyway, I'm driving in LA, and Bill Hicks has a great routine if you want to look it up about the LA riots and the fact that like they have a pedestrian right-of-way law. And he doesn't understand why Reginald Denny just didn't like land the gas. Anyway, so the way it works there as to who's at fault in the accident, if you're taking a left-hand turn, and this was not a busy road, it was a 4-lane road, and I take a left-hand turn, and I see that the woman in an SUV is, I see that a woman in an SUV is going too fast for me to like, and I barely like inched my car into the left-hand lane. Oh no, I'm up to 10 grand. Inched my car into the left-hand lane, and that's all I did. And she just drove right through me. If I didn't have my seatbelt on, I would be dead. A guy that worked in a mechanic's place was there. He asked me if I was all right and said he could tow it to his shop. And the police hassled him. The police told me that the rule was that this woman had the right of way no matter how fast she was going, and they had no film of it. So she could have been going 150 miles an hour. She admitted that she wasn't paying attention to me and that she never saw me. Any other responsible driver would have been going the speed limit, seen me, and just nudged a little bit to the right. And you know, if I wasn't wearing my seatbelt, 100% I'm dead because the airbag went off. And she totaled my car, and the insurance company decided that it was worth $80,000. That it was 80% my fault. I had a $1,000 deductible. My car was worth $5,000. If this had happened in Cleveland, they would have paid me $12,000 for it. But because it happened in LA, for some reason they paid me $13,000 for this woman driving through my car. And you know, like I had some scratches, but that was it because I was wearing my seatbelt. So thank God to seatbelts, and thank God to Geico for buying my wrecked car for $13,500, making me $12,500, and you know, selling my car for $7,500 more than it's worth. I asked these guys how they knew what condition things were in. Like, you know, like I brought a ton of expensive guitars with me in the trunk of my car when I moved there, and I'm like, what if my car gets what if my car gets stolen? And they said, well, that's covered by your homeowner's insurance. Like, you know, I'm saying, like, I got like $10,000 and $20,000 in guitar equipment. It's like 5 guitars, and you know, like I have receipts for everything. He's like, well, if you have receipts, you're covered. And I said, how do you know what's in the trunk and what condition it's in? You know, like I have like a PRS that's in perfect condition. But they don't know whether it's in perfect condition or Pete Townsend just played it and broke it in two. I asked him how they knew, and he said they didn't. I was like, you know, how do you make money? Like if you're paying people for a brand new PRS guitar, which is, I have a receipt for, cost me a couple grand, and you don't know if it's in pristine condition or if it's in pieces. And he just said the law of large numbers. And you know what? That's how professionals trade options. They look at the volatility, and they expect the volatility to regress to the mean. Of course, there is no mean for DJT stock. It's just insanity. It's worthless. None of that usual stuff works, but you know, as my P&L changed, it's been a good day. Here's a story about Liam the Magnificent. He needed a clerk for the summer. There's a long, funny story about it, but he said to me, come to the SIBO, the Chicago Board Options Exchange, and I still have the book, but I'm not going to get it right now. Maybe I'll get it in a further video. I still have the book. You know, my economics class was taking a trip to the Merc. that day. I just merely left them, went to the SIBO, got a guest pass in the SIBO, was wearing a tie and pants and a jacket, and I saw Leon the Magnificent, and he merely said to me, "Oh man, you made it." At this time, I just knew he was an incredibly wealthy dude that seemed to think that our fraternity, which was massively in debt and full of dorks, should be getting a lot more pledges. That's the only negative thing I have to say about him. Like, there was no way that I did my best to get them pledges. That fraternity went under right after I left. I did my best. So I meet Leon the Magnificent, and it's the start of a beautiful friendship. And again, he would eventually make $27 million in 2 months. That story's coming to you. Here was my interview. He said, "You made it, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What's the time value of money?" And I said, "What, are you talking about interest rates?" And he said, "Yes. Get Cox and Rubenstein's options markets, read it, and then come back to work for me this summer. I'll see you later." And that book was full of calculus, and I did read it. And man, you'd rather watch my videos than read Cox and Rubenstein's options markets, wouldn't you? I'll bring it out for a future video. It's full of calculus, and it's boring as hell, and you'll get nothing out of it. I did it at the time. It doesn't teach you how to trade options at all. It just tells you how options are priced with the Black-Scholes model. It's based on a log normal distribution. When I was in college, I told the head of the program that both me and Leon the Magnificent went to at Northwestern, the Mathematical Methods in the Social Science program, that I was going into options trading. I just gotten hired by O'Connor and Associates, and we were on the beach together, and he said to me, "There's nothing interesting there." And he said that because he was an academic, and the Black-Scholes formula that prices options, it's just an old heating formula. He's like, what he was saying is there's no math to solve there. It's all figured out. It wasn't interesting to him. He was, God bless his soul, Michael Dacey, may he rest in peace. It wasn't interested in him because he was interested in living a humble, modest life, and doing research in math, just like the guy from Good Will Hunting did, the professor, not Will. And there was nothing interesting to him about options trading, but he didn't care about money. I worked with a guy that is the CEO of Peak 6. I worked with the guy who is the CEO of Wolverine Trading. I worked with the woman who is the co-CEO of Peak 6, all at O'Connor and Associates, and they're worth billions of dollars. And God bless his soul, Michael Dacey couldn't care less about that money. He wanted to break ground in new math, but they're all billionaires because of Michael Dacey's work, and they should thank him every single day. He is a wonderful man. He taught me statistics and modeling. He only gave 1 A to people in his first class, and I got it. And every day he would ride his bike and answer questions at some point in the night, and if you needed help with your homework, he would ride his bike in like between 8 and 10, and he'd help you out. I never did my thesis and I was going to do it on baseball, and I really think I would have been a baseball general manager because I was really into Bill James. I never did my senior thesis, but it would have been on baseball. The computing power wasn't there. I spent 6 hours programming something basic in Pascal, and I just said, hey, the numbers aren't, the number crunching ability of these computers, they're the future, but it's just not there for me right now. And I went into options trading. I literally wish I would have just been an academic like Michael Dacey, God bless his soul. No stress. He lived on a beautiful college campus. He loved his students loved him. And he was the one that had that program and made it possible for Leon the Magnificent and everybody else to make a fortune trading options, and he couldn't care less. All he cared about was his students, his humble life, riding his bike around campus. And to me, that's the way to go. Blow off these options and get yourself a restful job in a beautiful area that fulfills you. But, he didn't care about making money, but, the way the world is now, you do. So, subscribe to my channel, and I'll show you how it's done. No matter where these things get marked, it's been a good day. We got a lot of risk tomorrow with PayPal earnings, but I don't see where the risk is coming from. DJT ended up $8.50. Volatility came in a little bit, which makes me think that, I put on all of these time spreads, so only election volatility, and the other stuff is going to expire. The volatility came in a bit today. That tells me that people are like saying basically, this is where DJT belongs, because Donald Trump is a lock to win the election. He's probably like 70% in their minds. So that makes the movement on election day, the gap, a little bit smaller. But, if these things expire and I'm just left back spread going into the election and he loses, this stock's going to $2 and I will make a fortune. If it's probably not going to go to 120 because everybody already thinks he's going to win, and that guy that sold 7.5 million shares of stock at 15 is probably really depressed right now, but he made the right choice. Like Mark Cuban, when he sold out for $5 billion and this company wasn't worth anything in the long run, he said $5 billion is enough for me. $500 million should be enough for that guy, but that guy waited 6 months to sell his DJT, dumped it as soon as he can, and then had to see it triple in value. So he cost himself $1 billion, waited 6 months, saw $2 billion come off his net worth, sold as soon as he could, locked in $500 million, and then every single day he's had to watch the stock go straight up. Now, dude, you made the right decision in the long run because this thing's going to zero, but I know that guy's suicidal. Because if he would have hung on for 2 more weeks, he'd have another $1 billion. But come on, what can you do with 500 million that you can't? What can you do with $1.5 billion that you can't do with $500 million? Well, maybe buy the Mavericks, but I'll take $1 million. I'll take $1 million. You'll never hear from me again. I'll take $3 million. You'll never hear from me again. I'll never complain about money. I will live the happiest life. I don't need to be a billionaire, and that's why I'm not a billionaire. Because this is a stressful business. I had sleep problems. The only reason I'm not a billionaire is because there ain't no reason to be a billionaire if the stress kills you. And a lot of the people that I started working with made a lot of money. They spent their days staring at screens or standing in pits, and some of them loved it, and a lot of them are dead from the stress. And, I'm not dead yet. And, I'm happy with where I am. $1 billion means nothing to you if you're dead from the stress. If at any point I'd been worth over $100 million, I would have never traded an option again. So, I'm giving you proprietary information here for free. It's because I'm really good at what I do. I'm an expert, and I want some YouTube money. I don't want anything from you guys. I'm teaching you proprietary information for free. I am the best. I am in the elite class. No one knows options like me. The only person that knows more about options than me is Leon the Magnificent, and he taught me. I was working at Peak 6, and they got picked off because somebody paid a penny more for a butterfly than it was worth, and they sold it as many times as they could, and then they called the company meeting, and they said, we made a mistake. We can never do this again. If an offer seems too good to be true, don't take it. And I was in the back, and I was going, I bet you there was a 3-to-1 stock split, and they didn't know that the butterflies increased in value because of the rounding errors. That's what happened to it. Leon the Magnificent taught me that in 1987. This happened to the geniuses at Peak 6 in 2005. That's how ahead of the curve Leon the Magnificent was. God bless Leon the Magnificent. Rest in peace, Michael Daly. Michael Dacey, we both love you. Peace.